So now I think it's finally time for me to talk about Fanboy and Chum Chum on this channel, because like you guys have noticed, I've been going through a lot of Nickelodeon cartoons that I used to watch all the time growing up, and Fanboy and Chum Chum was on my list, and I definitely wanted to make this video talking about the series as a whole when it comes to my personal experience with it, what the show is about, talking about the audience's reaction as it was airing, and why the show came to an end. So I really hope you guys enjoy this video. Feel free to let me know your overall thoughts when it comes to Fanboy and Chum Chum in the comment section of this video. And without further ado, let's just dive into this conversation about the show. So Fanboy and Chum Chum is a wild and wacky animated series that hit Nickelodeon back on November 6th, 2009. It was created by Eric Robles and produced by Frederator Studios, the same team behind shows like The Fairly OddParents. The show made a strong first impression, debuting right after SpongeBob SquarePants' Truth or Square special. Before its official premiere, Nickelodeon even aired a sneak peek on October 12th, 2009, which racked up an impressive 5.8 million viewers. The early numbers showed that people were curious about this hyperactive, over-the-top cartoon. The show itself revolves around two best friends, Fanboy and Chum Chum, who live in the fictional town of Galaxy Hills. These two are basically walking energy drinks, super excitable, always in costume, and completely obsessed with superheroes, particularly their favorite man, Arctica. What made their adventures so chaotic and fun was their overactive imaginations, leading them into bizarre, surreal misadventures. They'd often parody pop culture and famous movies, making for a unique, unpredictable viewing experience. The animation style was bright, exaggerated, and a little overwhelming at times, but it definitely had a distinct look. Supporting characters helped flesh out the world. Kyle, a disgruntled young wizard, constantly looked down on Fanboy and Chum Chum's antics. Yo was a hyperactive girl who had an obvious crush on Chum Chum. Then there was Boog, a lazy bully obsessed with arcade games. The world was as chaotic as the main duo, with places like Frosty, Freezy Freeze, where they've had crazy adventures with Barry the Ice Monster. The show ran for 2 seasons, totaling 52 episodes, and it even won a Daytime Emmy in 2011, proving that, love it or hate it, the show left a mark. And when Fanboy and Chum Chum aired, people had mixed feelings about it. On one hand, the show started strong, pulling in millions of viewers for its early episodes, and it even won awards for its animation. Some critics like Aaron H. Bynum of Animation Insider praised the show for being fun and energetic. Even Variety pointed out that the concept had potential and the animation was lively. It wasn't necessarily groundbreaking, but it had its own identity, which some viewers appreciated. However, a lot of people found it grating, especially when it came to the main characters' loud and high-pitched voices. IMDb reviews frequently called the show annoying, with complaints about the humor relying too much on random nonsense and toilet jokes. The theme song, while catchy, was also a point of contention. Some fans loved it, others found it unbearable. It was kind of a show where if you liked its brand of humor, it was fun, but if you didn't, it was downright painful to sit through. Discussions, especially on Reddit and animation forums, often had users debating whether it was Nickelodeon's worst show. Some appreciated its absurdity and saw it as a fun time waster, while others ranked it among the network's biggest misfires. Common sense media reviews showed that parents were just as split, with some saying their kids enjoyed it and others complaining that it was too obnoxious. The fact that it got compared unfavorably to SpongeBob SquarePants and The Fairly OddParents didn't help. It was one of those love it or hate it kinds of shows. And for me, Fanboy and Chum Chum was one of those shows that always seemed to be on when I was flipping through Nickelodeon. Whether I liked it or not depended on my mood. Sometimes I'd find myself laughing at how ridiculous the episodes were, and other times I'd change the channel because the energy level was just too much. One thing's for sure, it had a very specific kind of humor that you had to be in the right mindset for. I remember some episodes that stuck with me, like the holiday special, A Very Burry Icemas, where the characters celebrated their version of Christmas with Antarctica. The theme song was another part that was hard to forget. It was so fast-paced that it felt like it was trying to overload your brain. Some of my friends loved the show and would quote it constantly, while others thought it was the most annoying thing Nickelodeon had ever put out. It was always fun to see people debate over it. Even looking back now, I can see why it was such a divisive show. If you were a kid who loved over-the-top randomness, it was great, but if you preferred more story-driven cartoons or something a little calmer, this show wasn't for you. Personally, I wouldn't call it one of my favorites, but it definitely had moments that made me laugh. But let's be honest, whether you loved or hated it, it was a hard show to forget. And Fanboy and Chum Chum ended after 2 seasons, with the final episode airing in 2014. Nickelodeon never gave an official reason for its cancellation, but there were a few possible explanations. First, the audience reception was too polarizing. While it had its fans, a large number of viewers found it too irritating, which might have been led to declining ratings. Nickelodeon has always been quick to move on from shows that don't perform as well as expected. Another factor could have been Nickelodeon's programming decisions. Interestingly, the network actually passed on Adventure Time in favor of Fanboy and Chum Chum, a decision that seems wild in hindsight. When Adventure Time went to Cartoon Network and became a massive success, Nickelodeon might have regretted their choice and shifted focus to other projects that had more mainstream appeal. SpongeBob was still their biggest hit, and other shows like The Fairly OddParents and newer series were getting more attention. There were also rumors on forums like SpongeBuddy Mania that I came across that the show was being quietly phased out before its final episodes even aired. By the time it wrapped up, the show had already lost steam, and Nickelodeon wasn't heavily promoting it anymore. It stayed in reruns on Nicktoons for a few more years before disappearing completely. These days it's available on Paramount Plus, so anyone who wants to revisit it can still do so. In the end, Fanboy and Chum Chum was one of those shows that burned bright but faded quickly. It had a dedicated fan base, but it wasn't enough to keep it going for a long run. Whether you loved it or hated it, it was certainly a unique part of Nickelodeon's history. Looking back, it's fun to remember just how weird and energetic it was, something that few other cartoons have matched since. So that was the kind of conversation I wanted to bring to you guys today when it came to Fanboy and Chum Chum, because like I talked about within the video itself, a lot of people had mixed opinions on this show. It was either a show that you liked for what it was, or it was a show that you could just, change the channel and watch something else. That was just the sort of vibe that you got with this show. So I want to leave the ball in your court now. I want you guys to let me know how you feel about Fanboy and Chum Chum. Did you like the show? Is there any favorite episodes that you like that you want to let me know? Or did you guys not care about the show and you thought it was annoying? Just let me know all your thoughts surrounding Fanboy and Chum Chum in the comment section down below. And if you enjoy the content on this channel, as always, be sure to like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. If you guys want to follow me on my social media, be sure to check out my X, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. All the links to those are located in the description below. Be sure to click on that bell down below so you guys are notified whenever I'm dropping a video on the channel. But other than that, I hope all of you guys are having a fantastic day, wherever the day may be, if it's the daytime, the nighttime, or the evening. And I'll see you guys in the next video. As always, peace out.